Stylus and
leguminous grass.
Yeah.
This is 30 hectares of mixed tree crop on government-owned land. This is a typical example of these trenches which break the banks in the heavy storms. If we had a vegetative system to back this up, it would be much better. However, it's not bad, and if you notice that the natural grasses and shrubs have been kept in this plantation, which provides better stabilization in the longer term. Here is the starter census,
How are you going to try and prevent this? Do you have any idea?
which is planted along these.
You're going to get a gully down
Bands.
here fairly soon, right down here.
Yeah.
What do you
No, we have
to provide one diversion.
diversion channel we will have to provide. We wanted to harvest the water and surplus water somewhere here. We are still.
Seedling stage ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ ಏನು ಹಂಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
Direct sowing.
Direct sowing.
Not for seeding.
Tell me a little bit about this Dodonia now. What are you going to do with it?
Sir, we are collecting the seeds of this Dodonia viscosa,
Yeah,
and in next year we are going to sow on contour lines.
yeah,
So it will make a sort of hedge-like thing,
yeah.
and we have to compare this Dodonia
Instead
and
of the
with the cuss. And we will be doing this next year, sir. We are collecting the seeds also.
Now, what do the people use the Dodonia for?
Dodonia they are using just
For
like for
fuel.
fuel wood and
Fuel is
also as broomsticks.
Stick.
It is fully locally used.
And how often can you coppice Dodonia? Is it every 3 years you can cut it, or what do people say?
Can be copies also, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
How often?
Once in a year.
Once in a year. Are you a forester?
Yes.
You are. That's good. Hello.
Styla amatha is a leguminous plant.
Yeah.
It is spread on the ground as soil binder, and also it fixes nitrogen and produces a good amount of the green manure as which is rich in protein. And it's grown well even in our in the stony heap like this. It's a very good forage crop as well as soil binder, and also being a leguminous crop, it enhances soil fertility and productivity, and it gives seeds for our further multiplication.
How many kilos per hectare do you use as a seed?
Normally, if you go for this, normally 10 to 15 kilo is used as a aerial per hectare, as a aerial broadcast like this.
Per hectare.
Per hectare.
And you just aerial broadcast
Yeah,
it?
aerial broadcast.
I see. Well, it looks as though it takes very well, doesn't it? Do you use any fertilizer?
So far, you are not using fertilizer, but we wanted to apply the rock phosphate. It's
Yeah.
a low-cost Indian fertilizer, rock phosphate, so that we can build up the pea fertilizer status as well as induce the growth of the leguminous plant.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think you should use anything else. But
No, we use
rock phosphate's very good.
We use rock phosphate here.
Yeah.
Instead of rock phosphate, we use here.
Now here's a good example of the impact of a V-ditch for planting trees, and you can see there where there's a white line where the water level has been in the recent storms. Now, if these trees had been planted on the square in holes, as has been done further down the slope, all that moisture would have been lost and would have ended up down in the nullas at the bottom of this hillside. Now we've got the moisture here, it's sustaining these trees, and of course it's giving a very good crop of stylo too, which it's supporting. I bet you wouldn't have got that stylo if you'd planted that down the hill without this moisture either.
If you ensure there's a lot of movement on land, you have to make our own everybody talk about the area. So what they say, if they see these issues or not, they could see what they say. They are very happy. They also the deliver the talent they are available. They are that covered to education models education for will any farmers do that on their own land or not? No, normally because the old is so small, 1.2 hectares, they can't afford to go for the such like this. But whereas on bud farmer uses on the bud, we will provide some
This is a farmer's field, and they have planted here mangoes, and have also ploughed it up and broadcasted Stanocentus. This is pretty good practice, but they could still do a bit more on the soil conservation side here, and I would suggest that they try in future planting these fruit trees in V-ditches just as they are doing in forestry. It's an issue is to get the horticultural department to change their basic recommendations. Here's an example of what not should be done. There's a typical earth bund put across here. It's not properly on the contour, it's just across the slope, and it's blown, and it's useless. And all that's going to happen is going to concentrate water and cause more erosion down the slope.
But these were planted by your staff?
Yeah. Planted, maintained. We kept really watch and ward also for this.
But why is he, I can't see why he thinks it's a good idea just yet. Why is that?
Now, there's another block behind is we put up soil bunds. And you could see that soil bund will not last longer. After 5 years, it will disappear. Then he thought that it will survive for longer.
Even earlier.
But it's only been here for 5 months.
Now he says that it is a permanent line. It's going to last longer and provide a this is the same village here.
Okay. What's he been spraying?
ಏನು ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀಯಪ್ಪ? ಏನು ಸಿಂಪಡಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ?
ಏನು ಔಷಧಿ
ಔಷಧಿ ತೋರಿಗೆ ಔಷಧಿ ಹೊಡಿ.
ತೊಗರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಔಷಧಿ ಹೊಡಿದೀಯ?
ದಮಾಕ್ರನ್ ಸರ್.
Demacron. He is to take up a Demacron spray for this red gram. Pigeon pea.
Who owns the spray?
ಇದು ಯಾರ್ದು ಸ್ಪ್ರೇ ಇದು? ಇದು ಹಿಂದೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ?
ಯಾರ್ದು?
ಇದು ಯಾರ್ದು?
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಬ್ಬಾಳ ನಾಜನ ಯೋಜನೆ.
That our project has given him as a
that equipment.
Equipment. He says it is a cusk plant, as a cusk grass. They use it for putting up the bunds.
But what does it do?
ಇದೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತದಪ್ಪ ಇದು?
ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಇದು ತೆವರಿ ಹಾಕೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಇದು ಹಾಕೋದು ಭಾರಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ. ಇದು ನೀರು ಬಂದು ತಡೆದಿ ನಮಗೆ ಭಾರಿ ಫಲವತ್ತು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಇದು ಭಾರಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗಿದೆ.
He says he says if there's a water goes in this, it checks it. It conserves both soil and moisture, and it acts as a bund.
But I can't see that because when I look here, I see great big holes in between it. So does it really do that or not?
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ನೀರು ಮತ್ತು ಮಣ್ಣು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಾಣೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಬದುನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ?
ನಮಗೆ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೀರು ಕೊಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದು ಆ ಮಣ್ಣು ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊರಿಕಿಲ್ದಂಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಫಲವತ್ತು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ.
He says that when the water comes to the upper reaches, it filters and it does not allow the soil to go in. It distributes.
No, but tell him, when I look at this now, it's got great gap.
Take up the gap filling, but in the same some root slips.
What is the advantage of this cusk grass compared to a soil bund?
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಈಗ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಬದು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಕಸನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವೆರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ?
ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಭಾರಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಅದು ತಡಿದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀರು ಬಂದು ನೀರು ಹೊಡೆದಿ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಬಂದೋಬಸ್ತಾಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
He says if they put up the soil bunds, it's likely to have breaching or takes away by the water. But it's a permanent line.
How much land does he have?
ಸಾರಾಂಶನ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಹುಶಃ ಹಿಂದಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ? ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ರು?
ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸರ್.
ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು? ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ?
ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ರು ಸರ್.
ಇದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ರು.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
So he has been advised by the forest staff that is going to be a very good live edge to conserve soil and moisture and act as a key contour line on his field. And you can use the same root slip for his further multiplication on his remaining area.
Right, okay, excellent. Has he improved his yields through contour farming?
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಈಗ ನಾವು ನೀನು ಮೊದಲು ಈಗ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಉಳ್ತಿದೆ, ಇಳಿಜಾರು ಹಿಂಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಉಳ್ತಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಡ್ಡಗಳಪ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾಂಟೋ ಮನೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಈಗ ಉತ್ತರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಬೆಳೆ
ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಸರ್.
ಏನಾಯ್ತು?
ಇವಾಗ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಗುತ್ತಿದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರು ಹೋಗೋದು ತಡೆದಿ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಳೆ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಬೆಳೆ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? ಬೆಳೆ
ನಾವು ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು, ರಾಗಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಈಗ ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ ಅಂದಾಜಾಗಿ?
ಅಂದಾಜು ಒಂದು 4 ಪಲ್ಲಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಹೆಚ್ಚುವಳಿ ಆಗದ್ರೆ
ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಮಳೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ತೋರ್ತಾರೆ.
He says that despite of the such a drought spell for 47 days, because of the counter cultivation and improved practices, he got a 4 quintal additional yield when compared to the previous year. Normally.
What did he get in the normal year?
ನಾವೀಗ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಸಾಧಾರಣವಾಗಿ ಮಳೆ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಆದ್ರೆ
ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ.
ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಗೆ 4 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಾಲ್ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು
ರಾಗಿ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್. ಈ ವರ್ಷ 5 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಾಲ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ.
Last year he got only 4 quintal, but this year he is expecting one quintal additional yield, following the same package practices and his own practices. 5 quintal ragi.
5 quintal. So he got a 25% increase.
Increase 20, and then ಶೇಕಡ 20% ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಈ ಸಾರಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿನಲ್ಲಿ
ಹೆಚ್ಚುವರಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್.
ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು?
2 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಾಲ್
ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಂತು ಕಳೆದ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ. In groundnut he got 2 quintal additional yield, whereas in ragi he got 1 quintal additional yield.
I see. What did it cost him anything extra for this yield increase?
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಈಗ ನೀನು ಮೊದಲು ಈಗ ಕಾಂಟೂರ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಉಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವು, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಹಾಕೊಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವು. ಇದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಖರ್ಚಾಯ್ತೇನೆ ನಿನಗೆ? ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಏನು ಖರ್ಚಾಯ್ತೇನೋ?
ದುಡ್ಡು ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ದ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. He spent nothing.
Nothing. So obviously it's a very good idea then. It's a very good system.
ನಿನಗೆ ಇದು ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಿ? ಈ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಣ್ಣು ಮತ್ತು ನೀರು ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೆಳೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ತುಂಬಾ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಮುಂದೆ ನಾವು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀಯಾ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್, ನಾವು
ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ಯಾರು ಹೊಸದು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಬೇರೆ ಊರ್ ಕಡೆ? He says he is very much convinced, and if any neighbors comes who do not follow this system, he also recommends them to go for contour cultivation and peridot technique like this.
Perfect contact farmer.
Yes. ನಿನ್ನ ಹೆಸರೇನಪ್ಪ?
ನಂಜುಂಡಿ.
All right.
ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸಾಲಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಬೀಜ ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತದಾ? ಅದೇನು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ? ಆಯ್ತು. He finds no problems in this.
Has he ever seen any insects on the cuss?
ಈ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಇದಾಗಿದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೋಗ ಅಥವಾ ಕೀಟ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಯಾವ ಥರ ಒಂದು ರೋಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಗೆದ್ಲು
ಈಗ ಗೆದ್ಲಿದೆ.
ಮಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲರೂ ಸರ್ ಗೆದ್ಲಿರ್ತದೆ, ಮಳೆ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
He says if there is no rain
season,
in a drought season there is a termite incidence.
Right.
So no insect, no disease.
Okay.
But only during dry spell there is a termite incident. Otherwise it is free from this.
Okay, but
ಇದು ದನ ಮೇಯ್ತದೇನಪ್ಪ ಇದನ್ನ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಬಿಟ್ರೆ
ಮೇಯ್ತದೆ. ಗೆಡ್ಡೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ
ತುದಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. If you allow the cattle to graze, it only the browse is the top tender shoot.
Okay, very good. Because the termites, ask him if the termites eat the live shoots or just the dead shoots in the dry season.
ಈಗ ಗೆದ್ದ ತಿಂದಿರದಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಅದು ಒಣಗಿರೋದ ತಿನ್ಕೊಳ್ತದ ಅಥವಾ ಹಸಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ತಿಂತದ?
ಹಸಿ ತಿನ್ನಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಒಣಗಿರೋದು ತಿಂತದೆ ಸರ್.
It's only dried portion it attacks.
The dead part.
Dead part.
So it doesn't matter, does it? Very good.
How does he know where those lines should be put? Are they too close or too
ಈಗ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ,
wide?
ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸಾಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸಾಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಹತ್ರ ಆಯ್ತೋ ದೂರ ಆಯ್ತೋ ಅಂತ?
ಸರ್, ನಮಗೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಪಾತಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ.
He says equal distribution is well laid out. Alignment is good.
No, it's not. This is planted at the end of July, 1987. Excellent line. Not sure if the level's too good though, that's the only problem. Now here's a good example of cuss growing on very shallow soil. It's probably no more than 20 centimeters, it's very gravelly. And yet it seems to have grown extraordinarily well. When was this planted?
This is June 27th.
June 27th.
Yes.
This is also watered.
Oh yes, at the beginning, because because nearly 47 days there was a dry spell.
after planting.
How much water did you put in this?
4 times we put at interval of 10 to 10 days. Interval.
Well, when we do this on a large scale, we wouldn't water it. If you lost it,
Yeah, you can.
you lose it and have to replant, that's all.
Only on trial basis we did this.
Yeah.
We can't do the same thing, repeat the
Yeah,
same thing
no, you
for all
can't,
other.
But perhaps in this year, normal year, you wouldn't have to water it at all. But even so, you say it died right back, and then when you really got your rains, it started sprouting quickly, right?
Yeah, very fast.
Okay, what does that mean? It probably means that the root system had actually been growing all the time, and it was getting its roots in before the vegetative part started growing. That's probably what happened. That looks good.
Formerly, they never used to go in for this red gram, nor they used to take up cultivation on contour.
Yeah.
It is only on the advice they have taken up this contour cultivation. Red gram is introduced for the first time here.
What did they plant? It was red gram intercrop with what?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Groundnut.
normally there are
Ragi, groundnut.
ragi and groundnut are the main principal crop. And the intercrop, there's a long cowpea, dolichos, spotted jawar, fodder maize, so many things they'll put in. So instead of that, now we are suggesting them to go for a counter cultivation with a pair of this either red gram in ragi as well as in groundnut as a pedro. And we ask them to go for separately fodder jawar and fodder maize or maize separately, so that it's very easy for harvesting and take up PPP measures for those things in that way.
So this is not a bad crop for a drought year, though.
No, it's not a bad crop.
Now, one of the things I notice here is that we seem to have the pigeon pea on one contour, and the vetiver grass here is on another contour.
Yeah.
Now, which is the correct one?
This actually this cus is on strict contour.
That's on the correct.
Yes.
All right.
Cus is on strict contour.
Yeah.
But the farmer will take him sowing. He has taken his own way.
Yeah. But now, will he next year follow this?
Next year
key
he
line?
says-
He has now understood
Contour
the
key line.
He understood now.
Yeah. I think it really is very, very important.
And of them, majority of them are small and marginal farmers, and about 50 are scheduled caste and scheduled tribe farmers. We have taken up about in-situ moisture conservation. The main practices followed in this watershed area is in-situ moisture conservation by strengthening the existing bunds, opening small bunds, formation of small bund at every 30 to 40 feet, opening of furrows between two pedro, then smoothing the land between the two bunds, and sowing the major another striking factor is contour cultivation. Since this area is getting around normally 790 millimeters of rainfall, we had two technology at our disposal. One is contour sowing, the other one is graded sowing. We just wanted to evaluate these two techniques, which is most feasible. Especially for this year, we found that this contour sowing is the best, because we had prolonged dry spell. One is in June. The entire July was dry spell. June 28th to August 4th. We could not take up any sowing at all, because our main season has been June, July. This year, due to this unfavorable seasonal condition, we sown most of our crops in August, taking the short duration varieties. Again, the dry spell prevailed in August 2nd week to September 1st week. With this dry spell, we could see a successful crop stand because of the technique, or the dryland technique, or watershed management technology we have been followed here.
Okay. Now we've got here, what's this, red gram?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pigeon on the
Pigeon pea.
contour.
Yeah.
All right, now tell me some more about it. Now, what are the practices you
Under the crop production program, we have introduced a pigeon pea, either as a sole crop or as an intercrop, when it is taken along with peanuts or ragi. Along with peanuts, it is taken in the ratio of 8:2, 8 rows of peanuts and 2 rows of pigeon pea. Between these two pair row, we open a dead furrow, which acts as a conservation structure as well as disposal system in the event of excess rainfall. Especially we had, in the last 1 month, we had nearly 400 to 500 millimeters of rainfall. So that was a waste. So because of our good waterways and furrows, they could able to get us a...
So we have this dead furrow running between the two lines of pigeon pea.
Pigeon
here.
pea.
Where you
Right.
could see breaches,
Yeah.
because it's on dead contour.
See, the rains received on 23rd and 24th of June, they have taken up sowing of cowpea.
Yeah.
But due to the dry spell, about 47 to 48 days, the cowpea miserably failed, dried.
So
But
it-
this withstood the...
So they had the cowpea between these lines.
yes,
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 Right.
there.
So what they've at least got a good crop of red gram now,
Yeah,
right?
because cowpea completely failed.
Yeah.
Again, they took up sowing of cowpea in the month of August.
In this plot.
In this plot again, second time they have taken up
Resowing
sowing
of cowpea.
resowing of cowpea.
Yeah.
Then that has come up.
Then they got a crop. from
They
that.
got,
I see.
I think about 2 to 3 quintals per acre.
Per acre.
So what do you expect the total income from this field will be this year?
Maybe about 2.5 to
2.5 to
3,000 rupees.
Okay, and what would they have got under a reasonable year with not practicing these?
Maybe about 1,000 to maximum 1,200 rupees by growing ragi.
So in other words, practicing this system even in a drought year,
Yes.
they've got
It is much beneficial.
double the
Yes.
income.
It is very
Very
much
good.
impressed. Such things have been very much impressed with the farmers now.
Especially this year,
Yes.
majority of the farmers, they could not harvest.
And
even the
this has
seeds.
withstood the moisture stress. 47 days dry spell. This red gram pigeon pea has withstood the moisture stress.
Yeah.
But whereas the other cowpea crop has miserably failed due to the long spell of dry spell of 47 to 48 days.
And one more new cropping system is we have introduced 1:1 ratio. That is one cowpea, one intercrop.
Right. Yeah.
It is there also.
It is
You
there,
can see. Instead of that cowpea, we have taken
So horse gram is the third crop.
third crop.
So we've got 1:1.
Yes.
Rows, yeah.
Pigeon pea and cowpea.
Cowpea.
Yeah.
After the harvest of cowpea,
Yeah.
horse gram has been sown.
In between
Yeah.
that rows.
So that's horse gram there now, right?
Yeah, horse gram is
And when will that be harvested?
I think
Another,
40 days.
30 days.
1 month.
1 month.
Horse gram
They
is
will
being,
get at least 2 to 3 quintals.
that will be a major source of our fodder.
Yeah.
So this system has catched very nicely because this three cropping system.
Yeah.
So short duration pulse with long duration pulse.
It's also on a contour. We can see
again
that the contour
yes.
just standing on
This
the bunch.
cowpea is about 90 days crop, whereas red gram is about 5 months old.
Yeah.
So even if there is diversities of the climatic condition, the farmers can take up on crop.
But with this system, the red gram has got its roots down, can survive the drought,
Sure.
and then pick up the moisture later
Yeah,
on when you
that's
get
right.
it.
Because it has got a deep root system,
Yeah.
the red gram. It has withstood the moisture stress. But
Okay.
whereas the cowpea, it's not so.
Right, wait a minute. Okay. Go ahead and tell me what's happened here now.
Actually, for strengthening of existing bunds, and as a soil binder, we have sown this hemeta, Stylosanthus hemeta, which acts as a cover crop, and we can control the soil erosion and the spoiling of these contour bunds.
It gives you some stability to the
Yeah,
bunds.
stability. It acts as a soil binder.
Yeah. Is this the first year this has been planted?
Yeah. Hemeta is
Yeah.
for the first year we have sown hemeta in these bunds.
Yeah.
And in almost all the national watersheds, we have covered these bunds with Stylosanthus hemeta this year.
Have you introduced any macrotilium?
No,
Not yet.
this year we have not tried.
Are you going to?
We are, in Kabalala we are going to introduce.
Yeah,
I
alright.
think they got the seed from Jhansi this year.
Yeah.
Thomas has arranged to get some about
Yeah.
5 kgs of seed, and that is being used in Kabalala watershed.
only.
They have a lot up in Andhra Pradesh, you know that, if you
Yeah,
try and get
Andhra
it.
Pradesh also.
If they'll sell it to you.
We
Yeah.
would like to try next year.
Yeah.
That material is available.
Yeah.
Added to this, we would like to try with cusculus also
Cusculus
next year.
also.
Now, with this,
On
we
our
see the
contour.
water stagnation because of the runoff collection
Yeah.
at the lowest point. The next year our program is to introduce vegetative bund
Yeah.
through the vegetative.
Well, that's the thing, you see, with the vegetative bund, you won't get this moisture stagnation. It'll just seep through.
Yeah.
And it'll pick up. You see, this part on this side of the bund is dry.
Yeah.
So now you'll get that moisture will come through, and you'll get a much more even
This
crop.
is the
you see.
difference with when compared to vegetative
Yeah.
bund and the soil bund.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is a neighboring field where we have a two-way contour system
Exactly, sir.
to take maximum opportunity of the various slope breaks which is on this field. Here we have the contours running straight ahead, and then as we swing around this way we have the contours going at a different angle, different grade. The farmers have had much higher yields using this system, but it has drawbacks as well in the sense that it's more difficult to plow and so on. But you say the farmers
They harvested 4 times.
They've harvested
the
4
greens.
times, so
The
they're
greens.
prepared to forgo the extra cost of doing
Yeah.
this, right?
And by selling the green pots, they were able to get about 1,600 rupees from an acre. From an acre.
Net profit.
Net profit from the
Even
greens.
this
From the greens. Now,
From the greens.
what else will they get from it?
Now the dried pots, they will
Yeah.
get another 2 to 3 quintals. That means about 1,000 200, 2,600
So
rupees.
that's 1,600 plus
rupees.
2,300.
Yeah, it is 3,900.
Is that what the total is?
Yeah. 3,500 ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ 1 ಎಕರೆಯಿಂದ.
Added to this,
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
Last crop is
No, 3,500 is definite.
Okay, what about the horse gram? What's that
ಈ
worth?
ಹುರುಳಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬೋದು?
2 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಲ್ ಬರ್ತದ, 3 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಲ್ ಬರ್ತದ.
ಹುರುಳಿ.
1 ಕ್ವಿಂಟಲ್
One
of ಹುರುಳಿ says.
Yeah.
What's that worth?
and,
About 500
and earlier crop this cowpea he has got about nearly about 1 to 1.5 green parts they have sold near to the extent of 600 rupees.
The first crop he has taken cowpea. After that he got about 600 rupees. Then he has taken red gram. From that he got about 3,500. Then from the horse gram another 500 rupees. So it is about 5,000 rupees.
Fodder for the
Added to that fodder.
and this is fuel.
And firewood.
Yes,
This
fuel
is
and
fuel.
fodder. Even fuel
The
something
stocks of
he gets.
red gram pigeon pea will be a very good.
They're nearly doing as well as irrigated farmers here now.
5,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಖರ್ಚಾಗಬಹುದು ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಗೆ?
I'd like you to ask the farmer here what advantages he sees in the system of cropping and contour farming which he has there.
ಈಗ ಈ ಥರ ನೀವು ಹೊಸತಾಗಿ ಸಮಪಾತಳಿ ಬೆಳೆದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು, ತೊಗರಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅದೇ ದುಡ್ಡೇ ಉಪಯೋಗ, ಇನ್ನೇನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ನಮಗೆ?
ಏನು ಲಾಭ?
ಲಾಭ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಏನು ಲಾಭ ಈಗ ಈ ಸಮಪಾತ
ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟಬಲ್?
Why?
ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹಣದ ವಿಚಾರ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಹೇಗೆ ಲಾಭ ಅಂತ
ಹೇಗೆ
ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಲಾಭ ಅಂತ?
ಒಳ್ಳೇದೇ.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ?
ನೀರು ನಿಲ್ತದ?
ನೀರ್ ಎಲ್ಬತ್ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಮಳೆ ಹೂವಿದ್ರೆ ಉಂಟು.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮಳೆ ಹೋಗಿರೋ ನೀರು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಲ್ತದಲ್ಲ.
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ತದೆ? ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಮಳೆ ಹೂವಿದಾಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲೋದು, ಇದ್ದಂತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭೂಮಿ ಕುಡ್ಕೋತದೆ.
ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿಯಪ್ಪ, ನೀವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಹೇಳಿ. ಈಗ ಸಮಪಾತಾಳೆ ಬೇಸಾಯ
ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ನೀರ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇಂಗುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ.
ನೀರು ನಿಲ್ತದೆ.
ಮಾಯಿಶ್ಚರ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್.
And does he understand it? This
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ?
ಅದು ನೀರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಲ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ?
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತದೆ.
Yes.
Does he think using this system that farming is now less risky than it was before?
ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಮಳೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ತರ ಮಳೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಲ್ವಾ?
ಒಳ್ಳೇದೇ.
Yes.
It does. How much less risky? 100% less risky,
ಎಷ್ಟು
or
ಕಡೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ?
ಎಷ್ಟು ಶೇಕಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು?
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ನೋಡಿ ಮಳೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಮಳೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ತೇವಾಂಶ ಹಿಂಗಿ
ಇರ್ತದೆ,
ಬೆಳೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಾಕಿ ಬೆಳೆಗಳು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬಿತ್ತಿದ್ ಬೇರೆ ರೈತ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಒಣಗೋದು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಎಷ್ಟು 100ಕ್ಕೆ 100 ಲಾಭ?
80-90 ಭಾಗನ? ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಭಾಗ ಮೇಲು?
ಏನ್ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಣ, ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕೆ ಹೊರತು
ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ರೂಪಾಯಿ 75%
less risky? So will he now be prepared to use more fertilizer and more pesticides and things?
ಮುಂದ್ ವರ್ಷ ಈ ತರ ಹುಳ ಗಿಳ ಬಿದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹೊಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ?
ಬೆಳೆಗೆ ಆಲೆ
ಮತ್ತೆ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು, ರಸಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ.
ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದೀರಿ?
3 ದಪ್ಪ ಹೊಡೆದವು.
Where does he get his advice from?
ಎಣ್ಣೆಗೆ
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ಸಲಹೆ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ?
ಒಂದು 130 ರೂಪಾಯಿ
ಈ ಸಲಹೆ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ?
ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಈಗ 130 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಖರ್ಚು ಏನ್ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹೊಡೆದೆ?
ಈ ಏನೇನೋ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸೇವಕರೇ
ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು?
ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸೇವಕರೇ ಬರ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಯಾರು? He says that man. He has spent about 130 rupees on plant protection chemical. I asked him who has advised you the plant protection chemical. He said
He has.
the agricultural assistant.
Very good. Excellent. And how much money does he think he'll get off this crop this year?
ಈ ವರ್ಷ
ಎಷ್ಟು ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತೀರಾ?
1 ಎಕರೆಯಿಂದ
ಈ ಸಲ ಆಗಿದ್ದು
ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ?
ಒಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಗೆ
ಒಣಗಿದ ಕೊಡು, ಹಸಿ ಕೊಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾರಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬೋದು?
ಉಳ್ಳಿ ಮೊದ್ಲು ಹಾಕಿದ ಅಲಸುಂಡೆ
ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ 1 ಎಕರೆಗೆ
ಅಲಸುಂಡೆಲಿ ಏನೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಮಳೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾವ.
ಎಷ್ಟು ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು?
ಈಗ ಒಂದು 1000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ.
ಲಾಭ, ನಿವ್ವಳ ಲಾಭ about 1,000 rupees net profit
so far.
So far.
Yes, made by selling green pots.
Well, thank you very much. All right. Now, to ask what I want to know, what I want to know is this system which we're seeing here, which is a perfect contour system here.
Yes.
He's got he's had ragi which he's harvested. What's his cowpea here?
This is dolichos. That is castor.
And castor.
Pigeon pea.
It really is excellent. Now, is it costing him any more to follow this system of farming?
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಾಂಟೂರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸಮಪಾತಳಿ ಮೇಲೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಖರ್ಚಿದೆಯಾ?
ಖರ್ಚೇನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ನೋ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಖರ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ.
Does it take more time?
ಟೈಮ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬೆಳೆ
ಅಲ್ಲ,
ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ.
ಈ ತರ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿತದ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ.
Not much is
Okay.
significantly different.
And it's not too difficult then.
Not too difficult. ಕಷ್ಟನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಕಷ್ಟನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟನೂ
ಈ
ಇದೆ.
ವಾರ ಸಮಪಾತ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಕಷ್ಟ?
ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Now, what does he observe when it rains
ದಿವಸ
now?
ಹಸ್ಕೊಡು
Does he see?
ತಿರುಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ.
ಆಯ್ತು, ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ
ಹೌದು.
ಮಳೆ ಬಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ಹಾ.
ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತು, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ?
ಅವಾಗ ಈ ನೀರೆಲ್ಲ ತಡೆಗಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
The water was not allowed
ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂತ
to run out.
Yeah,
Every row was a check,
yeah,
and every row water used to filter out.
yeah.
And so much so there was no erosion at all.
Is there any water running out at the end of his field now, or
ನೀರು ಕೊನೆಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹರ್ಕೊಂಡು
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ನೀರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ, he says no water.
no water?
ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ
ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇದೆ.
So, obviously for him, it's better to do this and have a graded
Exactly.
line.
So ಈ ತರ ಈ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ನೀವು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ
ನಾವು
ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀರಾ?
ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
ಬರುವ ವರ್ಷ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಬರೋ ವರ್ಷನೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನು ಬಿಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇ
I
ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
will never leave this.
Never leave it.
never leave.
Permanent
He is
system.
very much convinced.
Good. Well, he's a real, what we call a
Nimma
contour
ela-
farmer.
Yeah.
Tell me, we're now going to call him a contour farmer.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರೇನು?
ಮಾಡೋಣ.
ಮಾಯಣ್ಣರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಇನ್ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಕಾಂಟೂರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
ಸಮಪಾತ
ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡೋ ರೈತರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅದೇ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
Okay, now what about your friend here? Is he doing the same system?
ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿನ
ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತಾರೆ.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಇವರು ಇಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಎಲ್ಲಿ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದು we have seen it.
The other village we went, no, he has
Yeah.
got lands there.
I
So
see.
he has done the same type of.
Yeah. Does he see the benefits of it as well?
ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಕಂಡಿದ್ಯಾ?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಡದೆ ಸರ್, ನೀರು ಅಡ್ಡ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ನೋಡಿ ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ.
He asked us to see here. You can see better the benefit.
Yeah.
Advantages of,
ನೋಡೋದಲ್ಲ,
Water
ನಮ್ಗೆ
will not
ಸಂತೋಷ
go away,
ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
especially this year when we had a series of drought.
Yeah.
That has helped us to get a successful crop.
Okay.
And even the dead forests have been silted up after this.
ರಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬೋದು?
ರಾಗಿ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಸರ್.
ಎಷ್ಟು
Actually, he gets very good yield of ragi. 10 quintals.
10 quintals in a drought year.
Yes.
And what did he used to get in a good year before he had this
ಮೊದಲು
system?
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರೋದು ರಾಗಿ?
ಏನು ಮುಂದೆ 4 ಫಲ 5 ಫಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
4.
Okay. So he's getting 150% increase
Yes.
in a drought year over a good year.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Because of the practice.
Yeah.
because of
Because
this
of technology.
cultivation, technology.
And he gets the information from whom?
ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಹೇಳೋದು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ?
ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಕೃಷಿ ಇಲಾಖೆಯವರು ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಬಂದು
ಯಾರು?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಇವರು ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸೇವಕರು ನೋಡಿ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು
He is the assistant director.
Yes, he is identifying
ಹೇಳಿ
everybody.
ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇವರೇ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ.
ಇವರೇ ಅವರೇ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಖುದ್ದಾಗಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಊಟ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ
Disseminating all the
ತೋರ್ಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Even the SDAO level also, people were involved in this.
Okay, but now why aren't other farmers copying this practice?
ಬೇರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ಅಂತ?
ಅನುಭವ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ
They have not
ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು
got the advice and the practical experience of it.
Henceforth, they
Now they will do it.
Opportunity,
You think they will do it now?
Yes, they will definitely do it.
All right.
They were not exposed to this type of technology. He says.
Okay. Now one other question I want to ask: do you have
ಮುಂದಿನ
rain?
ವರ್ಷ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ.
Do you
He
have?
says next year he will definitely do this on all land.
Good. How much land does he have?
ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜಮೀನು?
ನಮ್ದು ಸುಮಾರು 1-2 ಎಕರೆ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
2 acres he has got.
2
He's
acres.
a small farmer.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. We ought to get him to plant some cuss. He'd be a good cuss farmer to demonstrate.
Sure.
We'll,
ಇದೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ,
ಹೌದು.
ಇವಾಗ ಬೆಳೆ ಕೂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತಿರ್ಗಿ ಸಾಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ನಿಮಗೆ
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಗಿಡ ಇದೆ, ಕಸ್ ಹುಲ್ಲಿನ ಗಿಡ ಅಂತ. ಅದೇನು ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ದನಗಳು ಮೇಯಲ್ಲ,
ಹೌದು.
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗಿಡ ಇದು ಪಕ್ಕದ ಬೆಳೆಗೂ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸಾಲು ಹಿಂಗ್ ನೀವು ಹಾಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೆರೆ ಹಾಕೊಟ್ಟಂಗ ಅದು. ಆ ಸಾಲು ಹಾಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಒಪ್ತೀರಾ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಅದ್ರ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆಗೆ ನೀವು ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದ್ರ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಬಿತ್ತನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕುಂಟೆ ಹೊಡಿಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು.
ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅನುಭವ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಈಗ.
ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಹಾಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಈಸ್ ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್.
he's agreed. Here's another shot of this excellent piece of contouring. Pigeon pea, which had been intercropped with ragi. Next year it's been now agreed the farmer will put a cuss line through here, bit of a contour guideline, which will give him a permanent guideline on this system, and will give one sort of break for slowing down water across this slope. What sort of slope is it? It's probably about a 3% slope, I imagine.
Yes,
Something like that.
2.5 to 3.
Yeah. One of the problems problems we still have here in Karnataka is that we don't have enough hand levels, and this is something which has got to be sorted out. And in an earlier conversation this morning, talking to the VEW here, the village extension worker who's first class, he's got difficulties now because he doesn't have enough petrol. 3 litres a month, you can't do very much on that. How much? He needs 1 litre a day, does he?
1 litre a day.
So we need about 30 litres a month.
About 300 rupees.
300 rupees.
But they are paid only 30
rupees.
But they only get paid 30 rupees. Oh well.
Yeah.
We'll have to take this matter up, right?
And this
This has
30
been
rupees was
several
being
times
paid from 1975.
This is a constant traveling.
So
allowance.
there is no
It's
increase
traveling.
for the last 12 years.
And the price of petrol has gone up, what, 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah.
More than that.
350. Our time
75 it was.
3 times. 3 times.
Uh-huh. This area we are now looking at is one of the special rainfall gauge areas, 250 acres. 250 acres is it?
100 hectares, yes, 250 acres.
250 acres.
This is a location-specific technology.
Right, tell me about it. What's happening here?
So we have taken up in Karnataka the location-specific technology around each rain gauge stations. See, one such block is here, taken up around the rain gauge station of Ramnagaram Taluk. This has got about 100 hectares in area. We have taken up all this land management and crop management, in situ moisture conservation techniques with emphasis on contour sowing. It's about 3 kilometers within the radius of the rain gauge stations. Based on the rainfall data analysis we have made, we have suggested different cropping pattern here. We have worked out the rainfall data probability value for about 50 years. Based on the distribution of the rainfall, we study the rainfall pattern and we advocated different cropping system to be taken up in this area. Accordingly, we have recommended yellow sign, paired row with either retigram or dolichos. Avoiding other usual practice of farmers was to mix all the other fodder jawar, sesamum, Niger, mustard, all it's sort of a crop salad that has been avoided here. Here a systematic approach in a cropping system has been brought in. 8 rows of ragi followed with 2 rows of red gram or dolichos. A systematic paired row technique has been taken up. That's one change, and the entire area has been covered with contour sowing. So this has helped the farmer, despite of 2 clear dry spells about 45 days first spell. The second spell was about another 35 days in the second spell. With all this dry spell, the farmers could able to harvest at least 10 quintals per acre yellow sign. That's what one of the farmer in the block said just now.
Thank you.
Luxuriant growth of dolichos paired after the harvest of ragi.
Was there ragi in between there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
After the harvest of ragi, this red dolichos lab, which is a very major pulse of this area, has been taken on a paired row very systematically. You can see it has given a very good flush, and we expect a very good yield out of it.
You know, I think your strategy on this cuss grass should be to come in the second or third year with cuss after they've established the and have got become happy with the idea of using contour farming.
Sure, sir.
And then they'll take the cuss very easily, I think.
Sure, sir. Next year we are introducing cuss grass here. This year we tried, but for the non-availability of these road slips, we are unable to introduce in this area. But this year we have already taken an advance action to multiply the cuss grass in our government seed farms and definitely in all our watershed areas. Next year we will take up cuss plant. And farmers are also now convinced about it, especially the contour sowing. And if we give the cuss grass as a key line, it will avoid most of the problems and the difficulties to the farmers to follow.
Right.
Contour.
Okay, now what's the treatment had here? What's happened?
Here the farmer has taken up 8 rows of and 2 rows of pigeon pea as a paired row, and at every 30 feet a small bund. On the small bund, castor has been planted. So after the harvest of groundnut, the farmer has relayed horse gram crop as a very good source of fodder for his cattle, and even the grain is also being used by the farmers as a very good
at least 2 quintals of horse gram he will get as the yield.
Kadlekkai enaittu?
ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು?
Now, one of the interesting things here, let me explain. One thing is that this is really nicely on the contour.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's very even,
There is a even distribution of moisture.
And therefore you've got an even crop.
Very
Even
good,
crop,
yeah.
crop stand is
Luxuriant growth of crops. It is a well distributed.
area.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗಂಟೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಸರ್. ಬಹುಶಃ ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ಬೋದು.
Actually, it is in the flowering stage now.
ಒಟ್ಟು ಐತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮೊದಲ ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ.
No, it's good, yeah. It's excellent. No, I think he's...
And this has really helped the farmers to avoid the leaves will fall into in situ, and that will act as a very good source of organic manure. Plus
This is
the
a full
pulse.
crop of red gram, pigeon pea. By giving a spacing of 3 feet, ridges and furrows are made. Each ridge acts as a in situ moisture conservation practice. I think minimum you'll get about 6 to 8 quintals of
No, this is an excellent crop.
6 to 8.
And he's probably conserved every water which has come on the land,
The
right?
crop is conserved.
Yeah.
In the
And that's on the level contour, not on the graded.
Yeah. It's on the level contour.
Very good. Now, tell me about this area here. What do we got here?
We are in Nagpura Taluk,
Oh,
100 hectares location specific rain gauge station, Shivanalli block.
yeah.
Here the main emphasis has been again planting the crop on contour.
Yeah.
And there has been a major shift in the cropping system that earlier the farmer used to grow and ragi or sesamum, which are local varieties, without any other agronomic or land management practices. Here now we have totally changed the cropping system based on the rainfall probability values. The rainfall will be very good in the beginning of the season, so we advocated the farmers to take up peanuts and paired row with pigeon pea. This was the technology advocated, and wherever the farmer wanted to take up sole crop of pigeon pea, that was also given. And the entire area, out of 100 hectares, more than 60 to 70 hectares, peanuts, pigeon pea, sole crop of pigeon pea has been taken up. And the entire crop has been planted on the only one rainy day, that is on 29th and 30th of June. After that, there was a continuous dry spell for about 45 days. Up to 4th of August, there was no dry spell, but the system and the technology which we have followed has helped us to conserve the moisture, whatever the little rainfall received in August, and help the crop to sustain through. In the neighboring areas, many farmers, they did not harvest even the seeds, what they have sown. So that's the difference they could make out, and many farmers, they expressed, had the season was good, this year we could have reaped a bumper crop.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the season was not favorable, but still.
But this looks a very good crop anyway. We have a...
This is the experience of the farmer.
Yeah. We've got a very good crop of pigeon pea down here.
Yes, sir.
And the castor looks pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Peanut.
And the peanut, what sort of...
Already
About
harvested.
That's already harvested.
3
Peanuts
quintals
are
per
already
acre.
harvested.
And the groundnut, peanut was planted at the same time as the castor, correct?
Yeah.
Castor along with pigeon pea.
Right, pigeon peas, yeah.
Because these are little longer duration. Peanuts are taken away, and they will take up. Initially, the pigeon pea
Sorry, what was the rainfall here this year?
rainfall was
800, 850 mm.
You've had 850.
No, normal is 800,
Okay.
but we received 850
there is one-
during this year.
there is one
December
peculiarity.
just similar.
I tell you,
Yeah, last-
this 850, whatever he says, 400 millimeters was received in the entire 4 months of the crop period.
Yeah.
But only in last December, first
November
week,
and December.
November last week and December first
Yeah,
week,
you've had
the
these,
remaining
you've
500
had these
millimeters.
very late rains, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, how will the farmers make use of that moisture?
They are not.
Can they make use of it?
They can't.
They can't.
This is a very unusual season. December should be a very winter month for us.
December
But
and,
this looks like a monsoon month.
Yeah.
By that time, most of our kharif crops are harvested. So we don't have any program.
Particularly
for-
during this year, we have
Only that-
unusual heavy
Right.
rainfall during the northeast monsoon.
This will hamper our activities because this is the period where we thresh our crops, ragi threshing, and almost all kharif crops will be harvested and threshing will be on. We could see in many of the farmers' field, the harvested crops, they are suffering, and they have already started germinating. This is a really negative.
Only thing is, whatever the rainfall
Negative
received now
benefit to the
can
farmer.
be used
For fall plowing.
raising a
Fall
fall plowing
plowing.
and raising a
Nursery.
small area under summer
Now,
crop.
do they do any early ploughing? Will they do any early ploughing?
Summer
Yes, now they will take up plowing, sir. After
They
the
will do early ploughing.
Yes.
Right, and that's a good practice, isn't it?
definitely
fall plowing.
Yeah.
fall plowing.
Okay, well that'll help them a lot. Excellent. Let me just
Thanks.
turn this off now.
This later rainfall.
Right, now we're going to talk about silkworms, right?
Under the Silviculture Department,
Yeah.
there is actually they have a scheme to supply the improved this bivoltin eggs to the farmers for raising silkworms. So once these silkworms, these eggs develop by about 23rd to 24th day, these worms will come out. These worms are fed in the trays. These trays, the leaves, mulberry leaves are fed to these worms. And after about 3 or 4 weeks, these worms become bigger, and they are left in these chakis. They are called as chakis. In these chakis, they will remain for about 1 month, and then they wind together, and these cocoons are formed.
Are they fed in here as well?
Yeah, no feeding of mulberry leaves. The mulberry leaves are fed in those trays.
Okay. But
So this is only.
So they're no longer fed now?
This is in last instance.
Last
It
instance,
is
they're
about
no
to,
longer being
it's
fed.
about to pipette. They are pipetting now. You can see here.
Yeah, okay.
They are already.
This is the pupal stage in which they actually the silk thread is wound together and a cocoon is formed, and then these cocoons are actually put in hot water, and then the worms are killed, and then this winding is done by the
Reeling. They extract the silk.
The reeling is done in the factory.
This is Bambex mori. Is the scientific name of
These
the
structures are called as chakis.
Chakis.
And wherein the caterpillar take up the pupal stage.
And that one over there,
It's a very old type.
what do you call that?
That is plate only for rearing small caterpillars.
Yeah, for that's raising the small cat.
Yeah, to rear the small caterpillar. That is filled up with
Mulberry leaves.
mulberry leaves. We use M5 cutting mulberry leaves, very fine cut, and the caterpillars are fed. In the first 2-3 instars they voraciously eat, and in the last instar they don't eat. They just only kept outside to get some sunshine. So they prepared better during the sun.
It will take another 3 or 4 days.
3 days, by end of third day, every worm will be a cocoon.
Yeah. In 3 days' time.
Yeah,
3 days time.
So this
This is the instar way, it doesn't feed now. Now it's on a hibernation stage. So in this stage, it will not feed. Even in the pupal stage also, it will remain as it is. So we will extract the silk after boiling this.
They put it in hot water.
Right.
So that to kill
Before
the...
Where's she going? You can take a picture of it. All right, now this is a Kisan nursery in Kola district, right?
Yes, in the Kodi-Kannur National Watershed.
Koni-Kannur National Watershed.
Yes.
Right, now you're the conservation officer here, right?
Agricultural officer.
Okay, now will you tell me about this Kisan nursery? And how did you get the farmer to establish it and all the other things about it?
This is the fresh nursery we are raising with the help of a farmer from Chunchdenhalli, who is by name Ramakrishnappa. We brought this slips from forest department, and we met them and we convinced him to grow this fresh nursery and to multiply it for our next subwatershed use. So we have given him just the slips with the help of his borewell water. He is raising this nursery, and we want to utilize this slips multiplied from this one to the next subwatershed.
How much are you going to pay him for these slips?
We are paying to pay up to 10 paise
Per slip?
per slip.
Very good.
This
And-
time we have supplied only the slip.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. It's a good thing, I think, to give these, if people are going to be nursery keepers, you give them the material.
Yes. Next we will
Enough,
purchase.
and then you purchase. And of course, if he thinks it's good business, he can expand it a little
No, he is expanding.
He is
we
expanding.
Want to expand before we lift it from here.
Yeah.
We want to extend the area itself by here only,
Excellent.
so that we can get more number of slips
Okay.
for the next planting, next year planting.
Do you know?
Multiplied.
Yeah.
They will be removed and
Planted
replanted.
here only,
Right. Excellent.
so that by next June, July,
Yeah.
we will get more number of slips.
When was this planted?
Last week of August.
Last week of August.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, it should start growing quite rapidly
Yes,
now. I
yes,
think. Yeah.
Last week of August.
Yeah.
This is one of the 47 national watersheds we have in Karnataka. Yeah.
Did he put any fertilizer on him?
yes, he has applied DAP.
Has he? That's good.
He has applied about 8 kgs of DAP.
Yeah.
And he has taken up weeding once and earthing up once. He has taken up.
Yeah.
He irrigates about once in 10 to 12 days.
Yeah.
He has given already 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
In addition to the rainfall he received.
Have any other farmers shown any interest in being Kisan nurserymen?
Yes, if you give supply the material,
Yeah.
farmers will come forward. Especially when we say we are going to pay for the slips we are going to get from them for the next support set.
Yeah.
They are coming forward.
Okay.
He is actually multiplying. He is preparing the land,
Yeah.
neighboring land.
All
He
right.
wants to extend this one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For you people.
All right. Now tell me a little bit about this tank here. What's it for?
Yeah. In Karnataka, there is shortage of electricity power. These farmers, what they do is, during night, they get sufficient power. So they put on the switch of the pump and then bail out water, lift water and store it in these overhead tank-like thing. And next day, through gravitational force, the water flows to the fields. Thereby, it provides the different crops.
Good. How long has he had this tank here for?
I think this is about, he has constructed somewhere in September. Last time, I think August it was not there. Subsequently, he has constructed in the month of September this water tank.
Now, what are these reeds growing here?
That is only some grass weeds.
Is that why has he got the grass weeds in here? Any particular reason?
No reason. I think he may have to remove this. Or,
It's a lot better. This is typical gully erosion taking place on the off this hillside. As you can see, they've plugged it with agave. It'll work, but it won't be that effective. Be better to use cut grass. You know, it's coming out of this eucalypt plantation. The interesting thing about the eucalypt plantation is, again, there's tremendous runoff there, sheet erosion and all sorts of problems which will emerge from that planting. Here we are. This is being washed away here. Stabilized, I think probably the only way to do it is to plant cuss along there. Because if by putting these stones there, I can tell you those stones aren't going to stabilize it. Look at that bit there, you see?
Yes, sir.
You see there?
sinking.
What's happened there is being washed out and sinking. And that is only from a small amount of water which runs down from here, right? So we've got to look for alternative systems. And at least you're starting to think about it, which is good. But I imagine in a large storm you have a lot of water running down here. Is that right? Yeah.
The intensity of the runoff is so much.
So here we have cuss planted in August on top of an old melted bund. And as you can see, it's taken quite well. It will grow more during this dry season, which is due now. The cattle and sheep will probably nibble it down, but it'll then tiller. And when the lands are closed up next year for planting, the grass will come away very strongly then. They should then at that stage do a bit of gap filling, and probably in 2 or 3 years' time we can expect to have a good vegetative hedge here. Here's another line of the cuss. And the interesting thing here is that can't find out what it is. Is that it survived even under the crop. And perhaps you might pull that crop away now. We can see it. You see? Why don't you pull that away? Let's have a look at it. Yeah, there we are. There's that August planted cuss, and it's come through and it survived the shade of the crop. Now that's pretty good. And this indicates how strong a grass this cuss is.